closing keynote for day one, She Summit 2015, is a inspiration to me and to so many of us. He is a man that needs no introduction. He has graced and helped so many people in the world with human sustainability, coming off of our sustainability panel, a spiritual leader. He's helped so many millions around the world with his authenticity and just spirit. So his name is Deepak Chopra, and I want you to, let's stand up and give him a warm welcome. He came all the way here and headed to Canada afterwards, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's not a single man in the audience? Okay, so I have about a little over 15 minutes, and I just want to thank you all for having me here on stage. One man among so many women. So I feel compelled to talk about the divine feminine. But before I do that, let me actually share a little bit of insight with you about the evolution of the human brain and why I think the next phase of our evolution has to involve the incarnation of the divine feminine, and I'll explain what that means. So if you look at the human brain from the side, this could easily be called a handy model of the brain. This would be the spinal cord. Where my thumb is, that's the midbrain. It's also called the reptilian brain because it evolved about 300 million years ago. And if you go close to a reptile and make a sudden noise or a sudden movement, the reptile will attack you. And if you're a little further away, the reptile will slither away. So this is called the startle response. The startle response. We have a reptilian brain because we evolved from reptiles. And in us, this has become the fight or flight response. So when we are in a threatening situation, what do? We fight and we run, particularly if we are men, okay? So the reptilian brain, when I was in medical school, the way we remembered the functions of the reptilian brain were the 4 Fs: feeding, fighting, fleeing, and reproduction, okay? So these are the dominant activities of humankind at the moment as well. The second part of the brain over here, you know, when I open my hand here, you see where my thumb is? That's called the limbic brain. And the limbic brain is also referred to as the emotional brain. It's found in mammals. It's not found in reptiles. So reptiles lay eggs. Mammals are so-called because of the word mama, which is also the word mother. It's also the word mammary, which means breast. And it's the origin of many other words: mama, matrix, mother, mata, matrika, time, measurement, etc. Unlike reptiles, mammals don't lay eggs. They nurture their developing child in the womb. They nurse the child with milk, and they bond emotionally with things like cuddling and kissing and hugging and physical contact, but also singing and playing. All mammals play. So if your limbic brain is in good health, then you spontaneously experience love, compassion, joy, empathy, peace, equanimity. If your limbic brain is out of sync with life in general, because the reptilian brain is dominating, then you experience fear, anger, hostility, guilt, shame, mistrust, depression. And this has biological consequences because the limbic brain is connected to the hypothalamus and the pituitary and all the hormones in the body that are responsible for healing and self-regulation. So as you can see, in our society today, the reptilian brain is dominating, and the limbic brain is dysfunctional. So we have all the problems: racism, sexism, homophobia, bigotry, prejudice, war, terrorism, eco-destruction, extinction of species, social and economic injustice, on and on. The third part of our brain, so this is, the reptilian brain is 300 million years old, the limbic brain is 100 million years old. The third part of our brain, which is the bulk of our brain, this whole part, is called the cortical brain, and it's only 4 million years old. And it evolved rapidly when human beings learned to communicate, first through speech, that was about 15,000 years ago, and then through written language, which was about 5,000 years ago. And because of the cortical brain, we have things like insight, intuition, imagination, creativity, free will, choice, spiritual longing, a sense of the sacred, etc. But if your reptilian brain is dominating and your limbic brain is dysfunctional, your cortical brain, because it's creative, it creates things that are very dangerous: atom bombs, mechanized death, extinction of species, destroying the ecosystem. So there you are. That's the current state of our civilization, which evolved from hunter-gatherers and then into the age of agriculture, and then the industrial age, and then the information age, where we are now, right? But the information age is soon evolving into what we might call the age of knowledge, and ultimately, hopefully, if we survive, into the age of wisdom. That's in short, that's, about 300 million years of history and how it correlates with the human brain. What does this have to do with what I'm talking about right now? If you look at evolution, and you look at anthropology, you look at the human brain and its evolution, you can see that the evolution has been dominated by what, for lack of a better word, we could call masculine forces, okay, which were very necessary when we were hunter-gatherers. We had to survive. The man had to go out to hunt the animal, bring back food, and you can see even biologically, man was dispensable. Human beings, the men, have 300 million sperm for every one egg. And only one of them makes it. The rest don't. Okay, so the hunter-gatherer, the reptilian brain, went together. But what that did was, it created a culture through history of patriarchy, and also it created what was possibly necessary in the beginning of our evolution: conquest, predation, violence, killing, and so on. And in classic Darwinian evolution, that is referred to as the survival of the fittest, right? But by fittest, what was meant was the strongest physically. What was meant was basically testosterone. Why is that dangerous now? That is dangerous now because we have come to the point where if we are not emotionally and spiritually evolved, and we are still dominated by our reptilian brain, but our creativity has reached such amazing levels of expression that we have modern capacities that we did not have as hunter-gatherers. So we have atomic bombs and mechanized death and internet warfare, and we can even use information technology, if we want, to destroy the world. A great mentor of mine was Jonas Salk. You probably know the name. He is the man who created the polio vaccine. And towards the end of his life, he became very interested in evolutionary biology. And what he said was that the next phase of our evolution, if we want to survive, is not the survival of the fittest, but the survival of the wisest. And wisdom will become the new criterion for evolution. So what is wisdom? Wisdom is that knowledge which nurtures life, all life, because wisdom is the knowledge that understands that we are not alone, that we are part of an ecosystem. And wisdom is that knowledge that embraces truth and goodness and beauty and intuition and what are called Platonic values, such as love, compassion, joy, peace. And this brings me to what I want to say in the next 4 minutes. And that is, for this we need to invite and bring about the incarnation in our civilization of what in spiritual traditions has been understood as the divine feminine. So as you go across the world and look at all the different cultures, you find that beneath the apparent spirituality, beneath the apparent religious doctrine, there's always the divine feminine energy. In India, there are goddesses of wealth and power and wisdom and nature, and the same thing in Greek mythology, and the same thing in Egyptian mythology. And myth is what captures the collective imagination and the collective longing for the greater good. So behind, in the backstage over there, is my friend Agape Stasinopoulos, who will be speaking to you tomorrow. She's Ariana Huffington's sister, and they're both great friends of mine, and as was their mother, who is a classic Greek goddess. So what I'll do is, for the remaining 3 minutes, I'll mention the 7 archetypal goddesses that Agape spoke about in her book, Conversations with the Goddess, which she incidentally launched at the Chopra Center many years ago. Okay, so first is the Greek goddess Demeter, who represents mother, the nurturing affection of mother, without which no one would survive. Then you have Athena, the goddess of wisdom, the one who cultivates the arts and sciences and culture. Then you have Aphrodite, the goddess of sex and romance and beauty and sensuality. You have Artemis, the one who takes care of nature, who is also sometimes wild and untamed, but understands the forces of nature and understands that what we call the environment is our extended body, that the air is our breath, the waters of our planet are our circulation, the earth is recycling as our body, that we have a personal body, we have a universal body, and they're both equally ours. Then you have Persephone. She's the one who navigates the subconscious realm of our own collective consciousness. She understands alchemy and transformation and healing. Then you have Hera, the goddess of power, the one who wields power, but because she has all these other energies, her power is not used recklessly. And finally, you have Hestia, the homemaker, who takes care of family and home. Just think of these themes. These are actually themes. These are symbolic expressions of our higher states of consciousness. We cannot imagine the infinite, because if we could, then it wouldn't be infinite. So we symbolically try to understand the infinite in these archetypal goddesses, who are symbolic expressions not only of higher states of consciousness, but of energy and of information. If they incarnate in our collective consciousness, then we project a different world, because the world is the projection of our collective consciousness. So once again, let's go over these. Power, but a different kind of power. Science, art, culture, music, poetry. Beauty, sensuality, sex, affection, tenderness. The nurturing energy of mother. Alchemy, healing, understanding the subconscious mind that never sleeps, and taking care of home and family. Imagine a government with a cabinet like this. Okay? We could dream a new world into actuality. A more sustainable, healthy, happier, more just, more kind, and more nurturing. So I invite you all today to embrace the divine feminine in you. And for any men listening, they too. It is time for us to incarnate the divine feminine. It is our only hope for the next leap of evolution in our collective consciousness. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Claudia Chan, and I'm the founder of She Summit. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends and community. At She Summit, we believe there is a leader and change agent inside everyone, and our goal is to unleash you to lead change from where you are for issues that you care about to benefit your life, your family, your workplace, and even the world. There's so many ways to follow us if you're interested in this leadership content. You can actually subscribe to this YouTube channel, of course, but also visit our website where you can sign up for our newsletter and learn more about our community, new leadership courses that we're rolling out, and our 2019 She Summit conference. And I also just launched a podcast based on my book. It's called the How We Rise Leadership Podcast. So please follow us. There's so many ways to follow us. And I'm so excited for you to join our new generation of leaders to lead change again for our lives and for the world.